right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We talk sports with you every single night of the week, so don't be a stranger. Call us on the hotline at 412-575-2600. Jason Mackey of the Post-Gazette joins me over in Studio A. And Jason, a couple of games, one still in progress, but it looks like Pitt is going to come away with a win over Syracuse. Penn State, on the other hand, had a 21-10 lead, and they lost 25-24. And boy, I thought at one point in that game, Terry Smith had that team playing well. Of course, you noticed no Drew Aller there. I think it was tough going for the quarterback play tonight. But overall, your thoughts about that game and the fact that Penn State seemingly had it where they wanted to, up 11 points.
Yeah, Bob, basically at halftime, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a pretty good redemption story for Terry Smith. They blocked the kick, return it, a lot of excitement, but just not able to hold on. I mean, obviously the loss of James Franklin is a significant thing, but I think more about Drew Aller being out and how Ethan Grunkmeyer performed tonight. I mean, he just looked like somebody without any college experience, and I worry that this is going to be a tough go for Penn State the rest of the way. Good on Terry Smith for keeping them together, having the "if" T-shirts with a little message behind them. But you have a quarterback with no college experience, and that matters. There's no way around that. And Penn State has not performed up to its capabilities this season. I think it could change a little bit, but you still have Ohio State at the Horseshoe coming a little bit later. And I think this is going to be, a rough one. I'm rooting for Terry Smith. I want him to get the job, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd win this game tonight, too, and that would make it interesting. They have a bye week, then Ohio State, then Indiana, the two slobberknockers of that conference. And Indiana, of course, is doing their thing under Curt Cignetti. They won again today, and he just got that deal. It's very interesting to me how just 5 years ago he was at JMU for $425,000. You thought, okay, that's a good position to have, nice little paycheck. Then he gets the job there. He signs originally. Then they bump his pay last year, and they bump it again this year. And I understand why. But do you think that's a big pay raise of 4.5 to 11.6 per year.
Yeah, but is he not earning it, Bob? I mean, Indiana.
No, I'm just questioning. Sometimes I wonder why they do it so quickly. There was no way that Curt Cignetti was going to leave in the middle of the season or even consider anything because it's a lot of season left. He's got a playoff to go through. He has his team where he wants to. So I just was surprised how fast they made that.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit too, but I also understand how quickly and how strange this world of college football moves right now. And Indiana has a really good thing, and this program has not been relevant for a long, long time, and Curt Cignetti has made the Hoosiers relevant. And like I said, I mean, they're going to theoretically be, top 1, 2, 3 in the country. They're right in the mix, and if I'm Indiana, I'm not letting this guy go. I understand programs like Penn State. They're the number one right now that I would look at trying to hire Curt Cignetti. I don't think it's going to happen now, but if I'm the Indiana administration, I'm trying to make sure that nobody takes my coach, and I think they've made that statement pretty clear.
Our question of the night, KDKA.com/connect, is involving Pitt and whether or not you think they could win the ACC with Mason Heinchel as their quarterback. We'll see how that goes. But tonight, not the smoothest of performances, but they're going to end up winning that game against Syracuse, which I thought at the end of the first half was one of the big coaching malfunctions, if you want to call it that. Because Syracuse, they had the ball. There was no reason not to, I think, get to halftime down where they were. Instead, they kicked the ball, and then Kenny Johnson takes it the length of the field for a punt return touchdown with 2 seconds left. I thought that all was botched by Syracuse in the way they handled that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. But a great special teams play by Kenny Johnson, too. I mean, makes one guy miss, and he's off to the races. I've liked that kid at wide receiver. I think their wide receiver depth is slightly underrated. I agree with you on Mason Heinchel. I don't think this was his best game. This is not the way he's looked the past two, but he's a true freshman quarterback. I'm going to cut him some slack here. It does worry me a little bit. A team like Syracuse, I mean, they're not the cream of the ACC crop. Pitt should be winning this game. Good on Pitt for winning it. But does this make me think that Pitt is going to make a run at the ACC title? No, it does not. But I do think Pitt can win, 8 games, maybe 9 games if we're being really aggressive. I know the schedule tightens up a little bit. They should have a winnable game next week against NC State at Acrisure Stadium. They're doing what's necessary. I was also impressed by the defense, Bob, without Kyle Lewis, without Rasheem Biles, without Kyle Lewis for a lot of the game. I thought the defense put a bunch of pressure on Syracuse, got a couple of interceptions. But I don't know if I can see them winning the ACC.
Yeah, I think it ends with Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. Although Miami lost last night to Louisville, you never know. You're going to see shockers every single day in college football, and we've seen a few today. When we come back, Jason and I will kick around the greatest show you can call the show.
It was a show, Bob.
Yes, the greatest show in baseball history, perhaps. We'll talk about that and more. Want to get your take, and if you have some leftover takes about the Pittsburgh Steelers and what happened to them on Thursday night, call us right here at 412-575-2600. We are live on KDKA+. Welcome back. Our Xfinity tweet of the night comes from Front Office Sports, MLB's second richest roster. The $416.9 million Dodgers are headed to the World Series. A second straight title would end a 25-year streak without a repeat winner and fuel debate over competitive balance before the next labor cycle. Yes, I agree with that. It already has. We've been talking about it for quite some time. But first I want to get to Shohei Ohtani because watching that game last night, I continue to be amazed by what he does. You see a guy go on the mound, do it, 6 shutout innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, hitting 100 on the gun. And then he comes to the plate and just hits 3 mega shots. It's unbelievable. And to me, it is the greatest postseason playoff performance I think I've ever seen in any sport. You, Jason?
Without a doubt, Bob. Without a doubt. I mean, he's just such a freak. It's one thing to do that, on, consecutive days. Like, let's say he starts and he doesn't hit on days that he pitches and, then he's DHing the next day. I mean, that's still absolutely incredible to be able to do both things. In the same game, to pitch shutout ball into the 7th, 3 home runs, I don't know what to say about the guy. We're like out of words talking about Shohei Ohtani. We're never going to see anything like him again. It's an absolute treat. I want to get to the Dodgers point, though, because it does frustrate me seeing the Dodgers and what they have and the way baseball's economic system is. But it's fun to watch Shohei.
It really is. But the economic system, I think, is going to be a big part of this. Are you of the belief that there will be a work stoppage in an effort to change the dynamics of this CBA?
I think there's going to be a work stoppage, Bob. I don't think the dynamics of the next CBA are going to change, unfortunately. I mean, I think there's going to be a lockout. I just question how long that lockout's going to be and if both sides kind of come crawling back with a bunch of cosmetic changes that don't really fix what's wrong with Major League Baseball. I mean, it needs a cap and a floor. And if you want to revamp revenue sharing in there, cool. But you need a cap and a floor. And I don't think that there's enough sort of momentum with small market owners that want a salary cap, and I think that the people that hold the power, you're talking about the high-ranking agents and the really rich owners. I think they have much more stroke, and I think ultimately they're going to win. I think the players are going to win, but they're going to dress it up with some stuff that makes it look fancy. I don't think it's going to help teams, help teams or help markets or help fan bases. You can look at it a different way. Like the Pirates. I mean, they should be forced to spend a certain amount of money, and I don't think a system's going to create that.
Right. And you would think they're okay then with being dragged along by the owners, by the richest, owners of the league, and then just take the money they're going to make from that. And apparently, if I were in their shoes, I'd be fighting against it. I would say, yeah, my valuation's going up. Sure, we're making money here, but what are we doing? What legitimate shot does a team like Pittsburgh, given what they take in revenue, have a chance to compete with LA or any of these other teams who make this much money?
I mean, you're right, Bob. And I really hope Bob Nutting in these negotiations is very public about all this supposed advocacy for small market teams. You want to be an advocate for small market teams, vote no against the CBA. Speak out against it at every turn. Try to, curry favor or create a group of owners that really wants to lobby for this and say it's the best thing for Major League Baseball. Because I do think he'd have an audience with Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred wants a salary cap and a floor. He has said this to the BBWA before. There's just not enough support. But, I mean, even if it's a losing battle, even if he's going to alienate people, if you're going to continue to own a team, at least speak what your fan base wants. Represent what your fan base wants. And I can't imagine anybody who watches the Pirates would rather have the current economic system than a cap and a floor.
Totally agree. Let's go to the phone lines at 412-575-2600. We have Bob in Upper St. Clair joins us first here tonight. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good, thanks.
I just have a quick comment. I was a basically an elementary teacher in Chartiers Valley, and I was basically a football coach for the elementary kids.
Okay.
And I can't understand. Pittsburgh had a game against Cincinnati, and their two players, since they had Chase and Higgins, why didn't the defensive coordinator stop them by double teaming them?
Well, I mean, Bob, there was a safety helps when you're dealing with Jamar Chase. I was just astounded how much room he had to operate with. And listen, I understand that they believe, and wrongly so in my view, that they can flood the zone and utilize their new guys they brought in who have a lot of experience and big resumes, that they could shut this down that way, but that's the wrong way to do it. I thought they should have gone after Joe Flacco, make him feel very uncomfortable. And if you take, if you brought in Ramsey and Slay and Porter, you have him there, so go man on man. Just go press coverage, do it that way. Put some pressure on the quarterback, and if they throw and beat you that way, so be it. Congratulations to them, Jason. I saw none of that. I saw them sit back and wait and be picked apart like a Halloween pumpkin.
I mean, Bob, what happened to the pass rush that we've seen over the past couple of games?
Yes.
They're putting all kinds of pressure on quarterbacks, and they can't get to Joe Flacco against one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I didn't understand that. I agree with you on how they're devising coverages, but I'll add this to it. Why not adjust? Why not change things? I mean, what they were doing was clearly not working. And, like Bob's saying, it's not necessarily as simple as just double teaming both guys, but in a way it is. In a way it is. If they're running wide open, maybe go with some numbers there. I just didn't understand the lack of in-game adjustments or the in-game adjustments that were so poor when your head coach is supposedly a defensive mind and you're singing the praises of Terrell Austin.
The other thing is the run game. That team had not much to offer in terms of a run game, again, because of what you said of their offensive line. They weren't opening a lot of holes. They averaged, I think, 50-plus yards a game as a team. And here they are, Chase Brown ripping them up, 9.8 yards per carry. They had done a good job in the last couple of weeks against that. I would have thought in this game it would have been enhanced. Instead, it went the other way. And it's just a tough one. You could talk about Thursday Night Football, how tough it is, but it's tough for everybody. It just didn't make any sense to me. They scored 31. They should have won with 31 points.
Yep, absolutely, Bob. It's on the defense. What did the Bengals scored on 7 of their final 8 drives, I want to say.
6 in a row at one point.
Yeah, I mean, you had a chance with 2 minutes to go. You need a stop. They can't get a stop. It's the highest paid defense in the NFL. It's unacceptable. There's no other way to slice it. I've heard some criticism of the offense, and I'm not here for it. The offense was fine. You put up 31 points. You need to be able to stop the run. Chase Brown was averaging 2.7 yards per carry prior to that one, and they let him run wild. The tackling was poor. You lost the line of scrimmage. You didn't adjust. You didn't cover the best guys. I mean, we can just go down the line. And it worries me a little bit, Bob, frankly. I mean, the Steelers were in a really good position prior to this one, and now I think it's going to give a lot of people pause on whether this team is for real or not, or at least a team that can, get somewhere near the top of the AFC.
They reverted back to what they did in the first couple of weeks of the season, is what I saw, with giving up a lot of yards. And, the time of possession game, which the Steelers used to want to win every single week, I don't think they've won it once this year. They've also had issues with snap counts on certain people. I don't want to read too much into this, but why did Nick Herbig get only so many snaps against a team that you would have thought would want him in? If you're the Steelers, he's the hottest edge rusher that you have. Why not have him out there all the time, or at least the majority of the time? And he took a big drop in his snaps for that game. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what you're talking about, where you're not electing to play, rush the quarterback as much. You're trying to play a little bit more coverage, kind of a softer zone kind of concept, and it was wrong. And Cincinnati was beating it, and Joe Flacco was carving you up. I don't understand for the life of me why you have a bad offensive line, a 40-year-old quarterback. Make him make decisions quickly. The guy got to his team 8 days prior. Nick Herbig was your best pass rusher. I don't care if it's Nick Herbig or just blitzes off the edge or creative usage with Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun Elliott, whatever. I mean, I'd be trying a bunch of stuff to put pressure on Flacco. They just didn't do it.
No, they did, and now it changes the dynamic of moving forward. I know the narrative can change with a win against Green Bay because, quite frankly, they play very well historically on Sunday night, and I would expect that to be the case. but the schedule does toughen up. We'll talk more about that with Jason when we come back. It's 412-575-2600. You're watching the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on KDKA+. All right, welcome back. Bob Pompeani, Jason Mackey here with you at 412-575-2600. Looks like Mason Heinschel just hit a touchdown pass to Malachi Thomas. That should put this out of reach. It'll be 30-13 Pitt over Syracuse. So our question up there tonight was whether or not you think Mason Heinschel can lead them to an ACC championship. I mean, SMU looks pretty good to me. I saw what I saw from Louisville last night, which they got a pretty decent chance moving forward, although Virginia's a team that I saw was struggling today. Georgia Tech may be the team to beat in this whole thing, as it turns out now. They're ranked 12th, and they won, I think, today. So, Jason, how do you see it?
That Pitt's going to come up short, Bob. I think probably one or two games. The gauntlet that you mentioned at the end of the season, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami, I think Pitt would probably be happy to win two of those. They're not going to, or, you know, I don't know. I don't think they're going to fare terribly well there. I think they're going to be lucky to win one, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I don't see them as an elite program. I think they should be commended for how they're basically able to rescue their season behind a true freshman quarterback. You said this earlier in the show, Bob, but that loss to West Virginia really hurts.
Oh.
And boy, would it be nice to have that in their back pocket right now and feeling a little bit different about their season. But that one stings even more, especially with what happened to West Virginia today.
Boy, they're getting just outclassed every single week, and they're losing by 30 points a week, it seems, to these teams in their conference. So it was going to be a transition season. I don't think many people thought it'd be this bad, but even Rich Rodriguez has got to admit right now it seems to be rock bottom, and they'll have to build their way up. All right, before we go, Penguins, are you believing what you're seeing? They're 3-2, a nice win against LA the other day, and I felt they can be competitive more so than what people thought, using a mixture of age and some of the youth. Are you surprised or encouraged by what you see?
I'm encouraged by it, Bob. I like the way they're playing. I think they are responding to Dan Muse quite a bit. I don't see this as a bottom five in the NHL team unless the goaltending absolutely falls apart. I do have some questions about Jari and Shilov's maybe long term. If that means Sergei Murashov gets a little bit of an earlier opportunity, great. But I've liked the play of some of their depth guys, Justin Brazeau, Anthony Mantha. I think they've been pretty good. Gino looks good. So I'm buying it to a degree. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to be terrible.
Well, Tristan Jarry looked pretty good times I saw in this first period tonight. He's up against Alex Nedeljkovic as a scoreless game into the second period at San Jose. Jason, thanks as always. Appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. Jason Mackey of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us. So we'll see you at KDKA-TV News starting at 11 o'clock. Good night.